Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Walt Disney World Preview Center. We have a moment before our show will begin, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the model that you see in front of you. This model represents Phase 1 of Walt Disney World, 2,500 acres of our 27,000 acres. Many of our guests are curious about the difference between Disneyland and Walt Disney World. We feel that the main difference is the fact that at Walt Disney World, our guests will stay and play. Our show is just about to begin. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
And so, Walt Disney's great dream became reality. Very early in the game, it began to be unveiled for the public. Always the showman, Walt had decided it should have its own proper setting. And so, one of the first buildings to be completed on the site was this handsome information headquarters and reception center. Inside the reception center, a special theater had been constructed in which to present the Disney World story. The main feature was a scale model visualization of what Disney World would look like on opening day. And here it is. The parking lot in the foreground, Bay Lake for water sports on the right, the tropical lagoon with its resort hotels on the left, and the theme park with its towering Cinderella castle in the distance. As our hostess and tour guide tells the story in full detail, suppose we pretend we are opening day visitors. Where do we go first? Well, it's likely we would leave our car and our cares behind us, hop on the Disney World monorail, find ourselves delivered to the exciting new contemporary hotel. Not just at the doorstep, but right in the lobby, only a few steps from our room. Next stop, if there are kids in the family, almost certainly the Magic Kingdom. And these will be the landmark features of the theme park itself. The Cinderella Castle, towering above Fantasyland like a vision from a fairy tale. The railroad station, done in the grand manner, what might be called Victorian grand. The City Hall. Every proper American town has to have a city hall. As Walt always said, here is where children can find lost parents. Main Street America, period 1910, reflecting Walt Disney's own boyhood. Here is a place dedicated to the American spirit, to fun and frolic, and to nostalgia. And Liberty Square, USA. Here, the visitor will go back in time to colonial days and come to know something of our American heritage. This reception center has been open since February 1969, and already 500,000 people have passed through its doors. Walt Disney World itself expects 8 million people in its first year, and will open to the public in October of this year. From the very beginning of Project Florida, WED has been busily at work doing what we call Imagineering, blending creative imagination with technical know-how. This may look like an explosion in a toy factory, but it's really one of our most charming attractions called It's a Small World. There will be nearly 300 of these doll-like figures representing children from around the world. But each one has been made an individual with his or her own cheerful face and native dress. Here again, carefully built scale models have been made so that our artists and designers can see just what the final appearance will be. In another area at WED, and in a more serious vein, other Imagineers are working on a show to be called The Hall of Presidents. This will honor the men who have held the highest office this nation can bestow. For months, our artists and researchers have pored over hundreds of books and paintings and photographs, studying each president in minute detail. Beginning with George Washington himself, every president of the United States has been meticulously sculptured in life size. All this so that each may come alive and be part of a contemporary moment of history. When all are finally assembled in common conclave, we shall hear Abraham Lincoln's inspiring words from the past, words of presidential prophecy which are as valid today as in earlier times. In contrast to the Hall of Presidents, let's see how a somewhat less serious attraction is developed. Here, one of our artist designers sketches out the members of a troupe of rather unusual bear vaudevillians. This is Henry, the master of ceremony. He heads up a down-home country music review. Now, the next step is to work out the routines of every act. Story sessions are held in which writers bounce ideas back and forth, and as part of the game, act out every part. This is Gomer playing a few bars to open the show. Now Henry takes the spotlight and says, "Howdy, folks, welcome to the show." Now we go back to Gomer for a solo on the music box. Any similarities between Gomer and our story man are coincidental? Here we see the magic of what we call audio animatronics. Of course, it isn't really magic. It's a skillful blending of imagination, electronics, and computer technology.
Howdy, folks. Howdy there, Clarence. Welcome to the one, the only, the original Country Bear Review, featuring a bit of Americana, our musical heritage from the past. But enough of this chit-chat, yak-yak, and flim-flam. Just refrain from hibernating, then we'll all enjoy the show. Play on there, Gomer.
Well, that's about all we have time for. We'd better let our Imagineers get on with their work. They have a lot left to do. We have an opening date deadline, and time is hurrying by. So let's go back to Florida for a last-minute look at progress there. Remember, opening October 1971. That's the catchphrase now. And a couple of Disney characters materialize on the scene to see if a little magic will help. Main Street, buildings are looking bright and new and finished. Scaffolding is coming down, but there's much to be done. And as deadlines approach, time runs by, the tempo of things picks up. It not only picks up, it begins to get a bit hectic. With the help of a little trick photography, of course. Well, that's Project Florida, Walt Disney's greatest dream. But this is only the beginning. Over the years ahead, there's more to come. For as Walt always said, it will never really be finished. There's always room for new ideas and new achievements. Opening Day, October 1971. A gala occasion, a time of celebration, a time for fun and fireworks.